Live streaming is on.
Hello and welcome to the Virtual Repair Cafe for this Thursday the 28th of October 2021. We're just waiting for people to start to appear and populate things, but if you are watching this already here at the moment via YouTube, there's no YouTube chat today, but in the video description you should be able to find a link. I'm just looking, make sure it's there. Yeah, there's a link that you can join us live if you've got a camera and a microphone. You can join in live by clicking the link in the description. https://meet.jit.si/repair Sheffield Repair Cafe, and the Repair Sheffield and Repair Cafe, each of those words starts with a capital letter, and you should then be able, through your browser or through the Jitsi app if you're on mobile, you should be able to join us live that way. We're just waiting for people to start appearing and start populating the stream. There's already people watching on YouTube. Hello to the YouTube viewers. And say, if you want to take part, look at the link in the video description. Click on the link in the video description. It'll take you away from YouTube probably. It'll take you to something called Jitsi, and you can take part in the stream, have a chat with us tonight if you so wish. If you've got anything that you want to repair or anything, we will be here. Gordon is with us. Hello, Gordon. Oh, you sound better tonight.
How do I get gallery view?
Gallery view. Get that little menu thing at the bottom of your screen, Gordon.
Yep, I've seen it.
And yeah, the four squares.
Got it right. There's only us two.
Only us two. I've only just come on. I'm a little bit late starting it up.
Right.
I think there'll be more along shortly. I'm fairly sure. I think Alan at least is coming. What have you been up to?
Me, I've been on the wireless. I did tell you.
Oh yeah. You said you were going on the radio, didn't you? Yeah. How did it go?
It was all right. What they did to introduce it was clips from your live streams.
Oh right, from these.
Yes.
All right. I shall be after the BBC Radio Sheffield for the royalties later then.
Yeah.
They didn't ask for that, you know.
But the downside of it is that it meant there wasn't enough time to talk about it in any depth.
Yeah, well, they often do that.
Yeah.
They don't give you time to say much of anything, and that. But yeah, what was the outcome of it then?
Well, I got a plug-in for this, so I don't know if anybody was listening that wants to make use of it.
Cool.
I hope they didn't come on at exactly 7 o'clock and give up. But never mind.
Well, I wasn't much after 7 o'clock. And it would have shown that it was sort of in standby anyway if they'd have looked for it.
Yeah.
How did you log in, Gordon? Did you go through the Repair Cafe website and click the link?
I went in on Facebook and used that link. That was the quickest one.
Oh, right. Yeah, same difference, but yeah, there's people watching anyway. There's people watching it via the back feed on YouTube.
Yes.
So I can see there's a few people on there by the looks of it. Looks like about 5 or 6 at the minute. It's going up slowly, and whatnot. So Radio Sheffield wanted you ahead of this climate change summit thing, didn't they?
That's right. Yes. They were doing something called. They were doing a strand for their lunchtime program called Throwaway Culture. So the challenge to that was not to throw it away, but to get it repaired.
Yeah. Well, that's it, isn't it? Because what was it Boris said yesterday? Recycling stuff doesn't work.
Absolutely, I'm very keen on not recycling as a sign of failure.
Yeah.
I think it's the daftest thing going that a perfectly reusable glass bottle has to be thrown away, melted down, using huge amounts of energy, and turned into yet another perfectly reusable glass bottle. Why don't we just keep them bottle shaped and reuse them?
Yeah, because it's the time and effort and energy expended in the recycling bit.
Yeah.
That sometimes I wonder if that uses more energy to recycle some, particularly if it's plastic. I wonder if you use more energy to recycle something than you do to make a new one in the first place.
You could well do with plastic, because you've got to include the energy of collection and cleaning,
collection,
processing,
cleaning, sorting, yeah.
All that energy, that all takes energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, but plastic's appalling because it degrades very, very fast. So you can't recreate. It's not like metal where you can recreate or glass where you can recreate what you had before. With plastic, it degrades every time you try to recycle it.
Is that why they say they can only do it 10 times then? Because they were saying something the other about Coke bottles, and said they can use them up to 10 times.
What, reuse?
Recycle them, chop them up and melt them down and start again.
The plastic Coke bottles.
Yeah.
I would have thought 10 times was, unless you've got a very controlled environment and you don't introduce contaminants. Actually, I've read about this, that they have this in Norway, so you can get a very clean collection, and then it's the same plastic then.
Yeah.
But here we just mix it all together.
Yeah. There was a panorama thing on the telly back the other night, wasn't there?
Yeah. Oh, well, there might have been. I don't know.
In one of my insomniac moments, I saw it about 3 o'clock in the morning. I think it was yesterday morning.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. So you didn't get to say much on Radio Sheffield then.
Yeah. Well, I was. There was a bit of it about how it's in my DNA because of my family, and I've been doing it all my life. Yeah, and it's just like normal to me to repair things. It's abnormal not to. So, and trying to promote that idea that people should learn about it, have a go, and all that.
Yeah. Well, everybody used to though, didn't they, Gordon?
Well, that was it. I mean, when we lived in the East End of Sheffield before '97, it was normal. That's what people did. Yeah.
Yeah. People repaired everything.
Yeah.
the obvious one is the cars. You used to do your own car repairs. You know, most people used to do their own car repairs.
Well, yeah, me too. As I say, I didn't get the chance to say it, but I've said it elsewhere. I never had a car less than 9 years old anyway.
Yeah, no, me neither.
So you just keep them going.
Yeah, they lose so much money when they come out of the showroom. You know, it immediately knocks about $5,000 off the price, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
why would you?
Yes.
Plus they have bugs and teething problems and stuff, don't they? So
Yeah.
it's better that somebody else deals with all that and somebody else keeps going back to the dealer.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to when by the time it gets to you.
But then they don't tell you about the fact that modern cars are basically computers on wheels, and if you don't have access to the software and the diagnostic tools, you can't do anything with them.
Yeah, that's the other problem, isn't it? That's what finally defeated me.
Yeah.
Basically, the first thing you have to do is plug the stupid fancy cable into a laptop, and yeah. That's why I had the problem to begin with. Evening, Alan.
Evening.
Evening.
It's me. Oh, they all swap round when you speak.
Sandra heard you, Gordon.
Oh, right.
I was building a wall outside, but she did say that you were on, and then they did a clip of stuff from varying different recordings from the Zoom meetings or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I've just said I'll be after them for the royalties for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was it on, Gordon? What show were you in?
I don't know the name of the show. It's Pauline.
Paul, yeah.
And it was on. I was on it about 1:15.
Paulette, is it?
Paulette, that was it. Paulette.
Yes. I've never heard her show. I've never been around at the right time. I think Alan knows it.
Yeah.
She lunchtime, Alan.
Well, she's 10 well too.
Yeah, it's across the lunch. It's a 4-hour thing. Yes.
Yeah, I'll try and find it on the iPlayer. See what they did. It must be on the iPlayer somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. I guess I can use that if they've pinched my footage. I can pinch theirs.
Oh, the program is just called Paulette Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot of music in it because I listened to it beforehand to get a feel. But it does say that on the schedule that there's a lot of music in it. But one of the main things they were doing in the program was finding out how old the stuff was that people have. So I got my kettle in.
Your kettle?
The kettle, which has actually now been retired. It's still in perfect working order, but we've got an induction hob now, so we use that. And that's basically, as I've said, I think I might have said, it's a metal box. So there's nothing really that can go wrong with it. Put the water in the metal box. It's got a metal box with a spout on it. Put the water in the metal box, put it on the hot plate, and it gets hot.
The world now wants to know, Gordon, how old is your kettle?
1993. So it's nearly 30 years old.
That's a young kettle.
Yeah.
That's
for a plastic standard jug kettle.
Oh, maybe for a plastic jug kettle, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to say, I'm sure there are people that have got kettles on gas hubs and augers and things.
That's because it's a metal box that you put water in. They don't break. But the electrical jug ones, first of all, they're made out of plastic, which wears out and gets brittle when it gets hot after several years. And then you've got the element that goes. And then, so you have to keep on repairing it if you want to get it to last 30 years.
As a matter of interest, how many elements has that had in it then? Do you know?
That was the thing that never broke.
Really?
Unlike the modern ones where the element is welded to the body of the thing underneath, the old ones have have a replaceable screw-in element, and you can still buy those, as far as I know.
Yeah. And it never went. It's never blown.
The element never went. No.
In nearly 30 years, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
That surprised me, because the number of elements that we've changed in things, in kettles and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gobsmacked that.
I wonder though if people boil them dry and things like that, which will stress them. And
Yeah.
if you, I suppose you shouldn't, because the water's really soft in Sheffield. You shouldn't get any water damage, really. So, but yeah, that was a surprise. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
anyway, yes, it was the little device on the side that shows you what level of water's on the inside. That's made out of a plastic that goes brittle when it's old. So it was that constantly needed repairing. Because
Yeah.
as soon as it goes brittle, it starts to leak.
Yeah, and they fur up as well, don't they? Then?
Yeah, and it gets little bits of muck in it, and then there's a little rubber washer, and that goes completely hard.
Yeah. Ah. I didn't realise you've got such an elderly kettle.
Yes.
Have you got anything else that can beat that then?
Well, I could have mentioned our bedroom suite, 1920, and our lounge suite, 1950, and various other things of similar ages.
Yeah, I've got furniture that's like that. Yeah. You see that all comes around in fashion again, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, we like the bedroom suite. We were given it when somebody's house was being demolished in Attercliffe, and they were moving into a little flat because they couldn't fit it all in. And it was actually the bed that this bloke was born in, because it was his parents' bedroom suite, and he was born in the very bed. Not on the same mattress, of course. We did replace that.
Yeah.
The bed frame, and it's a sort of faux mahogany because it's cheap, because it's ordinary working class stuff. So it wasn't dead posh, but it works and it's solid.
Yeah. Which is more than can be said for modern furniture.
Well, that's the thing. This old stuff.
Cardboard and matchsticks.
Yes, and it's the same with the lounge suite from 1950. That was utility furniture, which was specially made to not use too many resources during and just after the war. So it's a very simple design, which of course is now very modern. Yeah, it doesn't have lots of fancy wings and bits and pieces on it.
Yeah, that utility furniture, it was made to us. If I'm remembering this right, it was made by different companies, but to a standard government issue pattern.
That's right. Yes, but they were made very robustly and very solidly.
Yeah, but as soon as people could get something different, they did, because they thought it was a sign of sort of austerity in wartime. So they all chucked it out, despite the fact it was very good, and now it's worth an absolute fortune.
That's right.
I don't think I've got any of that. I have got some bedroom furniture, chests of drawers and a tall boy and things, that were my aunt's, and she died in the early 80s.
Right.
And we cleared her house out, and we had most of this bedroom suite that she had. The only thing we didn't have was the bed, because the bed was massive, and it had big bedside tables built into each side.
Right.
But all the rest of it sort of stayed in various places, because it looked quite modern, because it's kind of white wood. It's very strange how it's done. I don't know what the finish is on it. I've never seen it before. It's a wood effect, but it's white, and it is wood. It is. I think it is proper wood.
Oh, they made them out of wood in those days. Yes.
Yeah, but it's white. But you can see the graining in it. I've got no idea how it what wood it is or how it was done, and that. But that's still around, and I'm guessing that must date probably from the 30s.
Right.
I would think.
Well, there was a fashion then for painted furniture. Yeah, we've got a 30 suite in veneer, walnut veneer, which we paid good money for it because it's Art Deco.
Yeah. Talking of painted stuff, it's been driving me absolutely mad. You know the new version of All Creatures Great and Small?
Yeah.
That's been on TV.
Well, I've heard of it. I've not watched it.
On the set, on the main sort of vet set of that, there's like a Welsh dresser type thing, a pine one, and it's varnished or it's oiled or whatever they put on the, when they strip them.
Yes.
And it's been driving me mad that I shout at the TV, you wouldn't have had something pine that showed it was pine. They were always, because they were always painted, weren't they?
They were always painted, yes. Yeah, the very, very first piece of furniture we bought when we got our house in 1980 was one of those things. The base is late Victorian, and the top was made to go with it to make it into a dresser. Because originally it was a sideboard. It would have had a shallow back on it, maybe just about 10 inches high, made out of a solid piece of wood with a nice curve along the top. That's how it would have been originally. So a sideboard. And they turned them into dressers by actually making the top bar. That was the first piece of furniture we ever bought in 1980. Still going strong. But I can't be bothered to paint it. It's perfectly good waxed.
Yeah.
It got pretty... When we had the kids, it used to get pretty mucky. But there's only us two now, so we don't. It doesn't get the same hammer.
Somebody must have stripped that though, because
it was bought stripped. It was bought in that state. 1980. It was all the rage.
Yeah, but originally when that was new, because I'm assuming that was a second-hand piece of furniture, was it?
Yeah, when it was new, it was painted back in 1890 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's one of those things that these 12-year-old set designers now that work on these TV programs don't have the relevant history and knowledge, so they get things like that wrong.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it, and you then see it every week.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Mind you, in these big old farmhouses in Yorkshire or Wales or what have you, because they're called Welsh dressers, I'm not sure. They might have been waxed. I don't know. But certainly everyday urban furniture would have been painted, I think.
Yeah, well, that is such an everyday urban, because it's supposed to be a big house in this Yorkshire town, isn't it? Little Yorkshire town.
And of course, posh people had polished wood furniture.
Yeah, this isn't. This is obviously pine.
Yeah.
It's what you would now call antique pine.
Yes.
Like Alan's got over his fireplace.
There's no more cake.
There's what, sorry?
No more cake.
No cake? What? What?
Can you see it even clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, what have you done?
I did nothing.
Well, is that the mixer bowl? She can't make any.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Oh dear.
You don't mean no more cake as in you've eaten it all. You mean no more cake as in you can't make any anymore.
Yep.
And that's a glass bowl, is it?
It's plastic.
Ah, right. Can you get replacements though?
Well, we don't know, but being as the mixer and stuff is probably about 25-year-old.
Oh, what make is it?
I don't know, but it was one of them traditional the ones what I usually see. It's not a Little Chef one.
Thought a Kenwood.
Not a Kenwood. It might be Molinex.
Right. You can quite still get. I know you can get parts for Kenwoods.
Yeah.
You might be able to get parts for Mulinexes as well, but you can get parts for Kenwoods and Kitchen Chefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of them white plastic ones. And she said it's been cracked for ages, and she knocked it offside the other day.
Oops.
But it's nearly half.
The other thing is, because it's hard plastic, it might glue. You never know.
She wants new.
We're talking about repairing things and not throwing stuff away today.
Yeah, you're gonna have a problem there with Sandra Gordon.
Yeah.
But
that plastic may well be the type of plastic that super glue actually welds. So you can make a stronger joint if you do it carefully than it would have been originally.
Yeah. But it's amazing how it's almost half. It's brilliant.
Yeah. It's quite it might have, is it broken on the molding line?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very close to half.
Yeah.
So
It does look like a clean break, that.
Yeah, you can't see enough detail on the screen. The resolution's not good enough.
It is a bit wavy, but
yeah.
Well, and it's about half-inch off.
Yeah. So that does look like a Moulinex food processor type thing, rather than the bowl mixers.
Yes. Yeah. When it goes together, it'll just leak. If we could put an elastic band round it, or some gaffer tape.
Now super glue it, and then but you still need the elastic bands to hold it tightly in place while the super glue does its welding, while it melts it.
Super glue doesn't weld, does it?
It welds that type of plastic. It actually melts it.
I didn't think super glue welded.
Well, it doesn't weld. It doesn't weld the things you normally use for it, but that type of ABS type plastic is the super glue actually melts it.
I bet that's not. I bet it's not ABS. That.
That's what I mean. It's not. It's 25 years old. But what you have to do is you have to get a bit of it, put the super glue on it, and see whether it actually melts the surface.
ABS you melt with acetone. I do it all the time with the telephones. But there's an older type of plastic that often goes under the brand name of Diacon, which I think was an ICI thing. And it don't touch that. Acetone and things don't touch that.
Right.
And it's more akin to plexiglass.
Yeah.
Perspex, it's a sort of acrylic thing. But I'm now told there is something that will act as a solvent on that.
Ah, right. So you'd have to do some research on the internet.
Yeah.
See which stuff melts it, and therefore you can use it as a welding joint.
Yeah. Yeah, because
you do have to use elastic bands to hold it tightly together.
Yeah.
If I was to attempt to do it with super glue, it'd never work again because you'd have fingers stuck to it in various places. It won't rotate.
Good point.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Go on. quiet. Yeah, I do the ABS all the time. I melt plastic down into ABS slurry to repair totally smashed plastic cases on these phones. I'm just looking to see if I've got one here that I've done at the minute, but I haven't. But yeah, they arrive as a bag of bits,
Right.
and you can, if you get clever with the plastic slurry, you can do an invisible repair. It's akin to what Kirsten does with pottery on the repair shop, but
Yes.
I do it with plastic rather than.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to use the right colour plastic.
Yeah.
Same
Well,
colour
with
as the original.
the telephones, you're lucky because they only came in 7 colours.
Right.
So it's either sort of red, green, grey, ivory, black, and if it's those colours, it is that shade of those colours.
Right.
Generally.
And how do you get it melt it down without creating a chemical reaction and changing its nature? Because plastic's notorious for that.
It just doesn't. ABS just doesn't.
It doesn't. It does actually melt.
You put a bit of it in a bottle with some acetone. I use a little pot and meat bottle.
Yeah.
Generally, a little pot and meat jar. You put a bit in there with some acetone, put the lid on, leave it, and it all turns into a slurry in the bottom. And
Right.
and
That's what they're saying it can.
basically it gets to the consistency of thick milk.
Right.
Then if you leave it a bit longer, the acetone, some of it evaporates off, even though the lid's on. So you leave it a couple of days, and it goes thicker and thicker, and you can get it to a stage where it's like putty.
Right.
So if you've got like a hole in something, you can just put it on. You know that Sugru stuff that we've used from time to time? It's the same sort of consistency of that. So you put it onto something like that and brush a bit of acetone over it to melt it flat onto the surface. And then you can get it invisible pretty much.
Right.
It's right as well.
Yeah. The only thing,
It's also strong enough, I presume.
yeah, well, it's as strong as the because it's the plastic.
Yeah.
It's melted into the thing it's sticking to.
Yeah.
So it's basically welded the joint, so it's as strong as what is around it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've not got one actually down here that I've done. I've normally got one around that I've done, but yeah, things that look like a hopeless case like that.
Yeah.
We put them back together.
And where do you get acetone from these days?
One Below.
What's that, a website?
The pound shop.
Oh, the pound shop.
Yeah, the thing that used to be Pound World, you know, there used to be Pound World and
Right.
Pound Land.
Yes.
Pound World went out of business, didn't they? Disappeared. Well, when Pound World disappeared, they then came back a few months later called One Below. It's basically the same shop with a different name.
Right.
And you go in there and you get their nail varnish remover,
Right.
and it says on it 99% acetone. You have to be a bit careful because sometimes it's diluted. Sometimes when you look at the ingredients on the back, acetone and aqua, which of course is water.
Yeah.
But other times it's 100% or 99% because they have to put 99% on for legal reasons, don't they?
Yeah.
99% acetone. And you get it in a little plastic bottle from there.
Yes.
And I've bought it off eBay,
Oh,
Yeah,
you can buy it off of eBay.
back by the litre.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the ones in One Below, something like a quarter of a litre, maybe a bit less than that. You know, I think they're about a quarter of a litre. The ones in One Below. So yeah, that's where I get it from. Whenever I see it, I buy a couple of bottles because you don't see it all the time. It's quite a good shot. That it's quite handy, that shot. It's kind of overtaken Wilco's for its usefulness.
Right.
I can hear Sandra in the background.
She's just brought the last of the cake.
All right. That's on ration now, then. That.
A crumb at a time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Rationed cake. Oh dear. Oh dear. Don't sound good at all. That now.
No, it don't. Not in the slightest.
You just have to buy it from Tesco's. In the future.
No. Yeah. Yeah, let's get about it.
Oh, I've just got to go a second because there's somebody at the door. I'll be back in just a second.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So what you been doing, Gordon? Apart from being on the radio?
Not a lot. It's been bitting and batting. Certainly not working on anything at the moment.
Right.
I've still got I've got the decorating to do in the bathroom, and I've finished my new kitchen window, which is a 1930s Art Deco leaded glass with a double glazing panel. So it's now triple glazed.
Either side, yeah, to protect it. Yeah.
Yeah. The leaded glass is on the outside, and the double glazing is on the inside, so it's easy clean.
All right. Okay.
On the kitchen side, yeah.
I see.
So that's always a nice thing to look through.
Yes.
Yeah. The sad thing about it is that we got this glass in the early 90s, and it sat in the cellar in my pile of useful stuff, and I didn't realise it was within a few millimetres of the right size for the window frame in the kitchen. So we could have had this beautiful leaded glass 20 years ago.
Well, yeah. No. Gordon, she's all good. Come and tell her. Get here. Get here. Get here. Have I told you her mixer's 25-year-old? Aren't I allowed to have a new one?
Now, if it's 25-year-old, it'd be better than anything you can buy new without taking out a mortgage.
So,
yeah, because they're hundreds of pounds now, those really good ones.
Yes, yeah, definitely, yeah. So.
Anyway, I would look up getting just get a new bowl for it. That's hard. That's a bit of newness.
Well, yeah. But when we can always find them at car boots.
No, what I mean is get the model number and look it up.
Look it up and get a new one.
And see what parts you can still get. And you might, what people on a lot of people on eBay do is they strip this sort of stuff down and then sell the parts. I think I bought something a month ago from somebody. Can't remember what it was now. And it was obvious that's what they were doing. But I needed one, whatever the bit was.
Yeah. But, I mean, if she got her act together, we could have industrial kits because we've got a concrete mixer on the garden at the minute. So we could mix up a decent batch.
I'm back.
Yeah, we were just saying, Andy, about this food mixer. That I've noticed there's quite a few people on eBay strip things down and then sell the parts. And I got one a month ago. Somebody'd stripped something down, which was the same model as what I'd got, and they'd got the part I needed. because I can't remember what it is now. So it's always worth looking on eBay for things like food mixer bowls, that sort of carry on. And it's obviously not brand new anymore. So if she really wants a brand new one, you'd have to go to the manufacturer's spare parts website.
Yeah.
You could get a slightly used one.
Yeah.
Sandra will want a new mixer, an entirely new mixer.
An entire new mixer.
I was just
It won't. It just keep saying it won't be anything like as good as the old one, unless you're prepared to spend a lot of money. That might put her off.
That doesn't matter as long as it's new. It doesn't matter if it works as long as it's new.
I was just saying we could do a mass batch at the minute because we've got a concrete mixer on garden.
Yes.
Concrete mixer, cement mixer.
Imagine yes.
Excellent. Yeah, well, Christmas cake season, Alan. Take it in the cement mixer.
Yeah.
I have actually heard of people making Christmas cakes in cement mixers before now.
And they've done, when they've done these giant baking challenges and things, they've mixed all the ingredients in a brand new mixer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a good starting point. Brand new.
Yeah. It's only gritty bits. It's only sand.
Yeah.
Yeah. On bulk mixing, it's my wife that has the recipe and does the initiative, but I help out with all the technical stuff. We have just made our Christmas puddings because our friends get Christmas hampers for Christmas, and they get a Christmas pudding in it.
Ah.
So this is going down to the wholesaler and buying 5 kilograms of dried fruit and a kilogram of this and that.
That all sounds far too organised for me, Gordon.
And one of the other things in the Christmas hamper is a jar of pickled onions. So right now there's 10 kilograms of pickled onions on the cellar red, waiting to be turned into pickles. I need to tell her it's getting a bit close because if you don't do them soon enough, they're not ready for Christmas.
No.
Getting a bit late.
Well, pickled onions need to be pickled about a year before you want to eat them, really.
Well, yeah. Yeah, what we say about the Christmas puddings and the pickled onions, they're actually best at Easter.
Yeah. I pickle, as Alan will attest to, of course he's had some jars. I pickled some cucumber last year. My quest was to make a pickle like you get on a McDonald's Big Mac.
Oh.
Pickle that you get on the Big Mac.
Yes.
Those pickles that you get on those are quite nice. And I've not managed to get it right. And I pickled these cucumbers last year. And I went to the Americans, because as usual, you go to the Americans because they actually do things, don't they, the Americans?
Yeah.
And somebody put a YouTube video, well, lots of people put YouTube videos up about dill pickles. So I made these dill pickles last year, and they were horrible. They were truly, truly horrible.
Right. So something went wrong.
Well, I left them on the shelf. And I tried a jar of them at Christmas, and they still weren't terribly nice at Christmas. So I left them in the shelf, in the top of the old cellar, like a pantry thing, top of the cellar. And I tried them again this summer just gone, when they've been done for a year, and they were much better. They kind of matured, and the vinegar had took to them and took some of the cucumberiness off them and stuff.
Right.
And they were much better, I thought. Alan quite liked them though anyway, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, traditional dill pickles are made with gherkins rather than cucumbers.
A gherkin is a cucumber.
Yeah, but they're smaller. Did you mean you made it with small ones?
No, I just made it with ordinary cucumbers.
Yeah. They're a bit watery, ordinary cucumbers.
That wasn't a problem. I didn't notice that as a problem with them. But the only problem was the taste wasn't right.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the McDonald's ones don't have dill in.
Right.
When you look at them, you can't see any bits of dill on them, and I'm wondering if they don't have dill in theirs.
Well, you're supposed to do them with dill, and I like the taste of dill. So
Yeah, but I don't think there's any reason to put the dill in though.
yeah, it's a flavouring. That's all.
There's a reason to put the vinegar in. There's a reason to put the salt in, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's a reason to put any dill in. So I think it's that I've got wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm doing some
On the problem of wateriness, that what Chris does with the pickled onions is she salts them,
Yeah,
and that draws all the moisture out.
yeah,
And then when you get your pickled onions, they stay hard even a year, 18 months later. The onions are still hard, and they're much more intensely flavoured because the vinegar replaces the water that the salt coats out.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the trick that she uses, as it were, to make really good, long-lasting pickled onions.
Yeah, yeah. I say, yeah, pickled onions are good, but they do have to be old pickled onions.
Yes.
When they've been in the jar about 3 years, that's when they sort of right. You know when they start to get that fluorescent whatever it is on them.
Yes.
You know, that's when they're about at the right about at eating sort of age then.
Yeah.
When it's like eating a ball of solid vinegar. But yeah, I've not done pickled onions. Don't know why onions don't seem to grow very well in this garden here. So
Yeah.
I have trouble with onions. You put onion sets in about March or April, and when you come take them out again at end of August, they're still the same size as when they started.
Right. Well,
So-
looks like you'll have to find whatever it is that grows in your soil. Yes.
That's it. That's it.
Onions are supposed to grow everywhere, as far as I know. I don't do gardening, so I haven't the slightest idea.
No, I don't much. For the last couple of years, I've battled with vegetables, and I've decided it's not worth growing vegetables in your garden because when your vegetables are ready, vegetables are so cheap in the shops anyway.
Yeah.
That you might as well have flowers in your garden and lawn and enjoy it. It's just not worth growing vegetables for all the hassle and faff that you have. And that. Potatoes, particularly, I grew potatoes this year,
Right.
and it was such hard work. It took up such a lot of space, and when you dug the damn things up, they were full of grub holes and that anyway.
Right.
You have 6 rows of potatoes. And I've got about a bucket full out of row, so you got about 6 bucketfuls of potatoes out of it all, and a bucket full of potatoes from Asda, about the same quantity, costs about £1.50.
Right.
So you might as well buy your potatoes from Asda and get them from somebody that knows how to grow them.
Yes. We had my wife grew nice tomatoes this year because it's been nice and sunny.
Yeah, I do tomatoes. I do
Picking tomatoes off the vine and eating them straight away. You can't reproduce that in shop fork.
Yeah, well, I can grow tomatoes because in a greenhouse, in a sort of controlled environment in a greenhouse, aren't they? So I find that easier. Tomatoes and cucumbers. I've grown some peppers as well this year, but it's been such a weird year this year that nothing grew for the first half of the season.
Yeah, well, it's cold. Yes.
So the peppers are now only just ripening, and they've not grown to full size. They're like peppers, but they're tiny. You know, they're nowhere near the size they ought to be. So I'm going to try and overwinter the pepper plants to give them a head start for next year, because apparently peppers don't grow very fast at the best of times.
Right.
So I shall do the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the peppers again next year. But the outside stuff like potatoes and that, I shan't bother with them next year. I don't think it's too much hassle for what you get out of them. But the tomatoes and that you do all right with it. I've got a lot of tomatoes this year. I grow yellow tomatoes, Gordon.
Right. Well, we don't have a greenhouse or anything like that. This is just so whatever grows, it grows in the sunniest, most sheltered part of the garden, and so quite often they don't ripen properly. But this year they were all ripening on the vine. So they tasted fabulous. Only little cherry tomatoes. They ripen faster.
Yeah, well, I think cherry tomatoes are more designed for being outside as well, aren't they?
That's right. Well, that's what I mean. Yes, we'd even with this summer we'd have struggled to grow full size ones.
Yeah.
But that's my wife's department. I don't have nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Well, the yellow ones of mine are supposedly cherry tomatoes, but they're not in reality. They're bigger than that.
Yeah.
They came out of the pound shop. They were a packet of seed that came out of the pound shop.
Yeah.
And a couple of years back, I just saved the seeds out of the tomatoes now each year to keep them going. Right. I wonder where all the others are tonight. I wonder if Ian and that's going to appear.
Right. Well.
Ian and Andrew are notable by their absence tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not stopping on long because I ache like nobody's business after moving bricks and buckets of mortar.
Well, that's your fault for building the Great Wall of China across Intake.
Oh, we've got to keep COVID out somehow.
Yeah.
And we did it right, Andy.
Yeah.
Richard was in Maxine's garden. I was in ours.
Have you done it now then?
No, it's not. No, it's not finished.
Oh. Can you only lay so many courses of bricks at a time?
Yeah, it goes dark.
Yes.
No. Well, yeah, that as well. But what I was thinking, when you lay a course of bricks, obviously the mortar's soft, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you lay more than 2 or 3 courses on top of each other, does it compress the ones underneath? You have to let that set a bit before you lay another layer on the top.
That has the impact because all it's doing is actually then pressing the water out, which is what you want it to do. But there is a point of it being still movable and unstable. So about 12 courses, 15 courses is reasonable.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that many. Most I've ever seen done in a day is about 4 courses, and they sort of go home and come back the following day.
Well, it depends how long the run is, how many bricks.
Yeah.
Well, Chesterfield Canal runs about 14 miles.
Well, yeah. So yes, a few courses at a time. Yeah, but if you're doing a short, like a house wall, you can probably do quite a few. But as Andy says, Alan says that it actually works better to have some weight on it. But you have to get the mix right as well, which is a bit of expertise. Yeah, you have to know what a correct mortar mix should behave like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if it's too dry and too soft, well, as you say, if it's too soft, it bulges out.
Yeah. Well, I knocked a wall down for somebody last week, a little garden wall. They wanted it taken out so they could drive the car into the end of the garden. And it was notably different, this wall, in different places. Some bits of it came apart quite easy, and other bits of it didn't want to come apart at all. And I can only put it down to somebody different mixing the mortar or getting it right in one mix and wrong in the next mix, because it was like a few feet apart on the wall, like where they would have done another.
Yes.
Somebody
who was DIYing it and didn't quite get the knack of how you do it properly.
It's a very old wall, so it was either somebody DIYing it or it was whoever built the house in the first place. I bet it's been there 100 years, this wall.
Yeah.
But it also has an impact on the weather it's being built in. Because if it's hot, it'll dry out too fast and not stick together. And if it's too cold, the water in it freezes so they don't stick together. But if it's a just right day, it'll go off and set properly.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I wish it hadn't stuck together quite as well as it did, because in general it was a real pain to take apart. But some bits of it were more of a pain than other bits of it. So yeah, it was a bit tricky. That was.
But I've got to have some more bricks anyway. We've running out of bricks.
Running out of bricks.
Yeah.
How many blooming bricks do you want?
We're about 150 bricks short.
You're kidding? Is it a double wall, this?
Yes.
Ah.
That's an awkward number. How many bricks come on a pallet?
Dependent on the brick, but anything between 420 and 480.
So you're going to have to buy a split pallet and pay a lot of money extra for privilege.
Yeah.
Either that or build something else.
We nearly built up here. We must have had plumbing.
No, a friend of mine's just done that for his daughter's bought a house up in Crooks, and it's a terraced house, and the wall between them and the neighbours had been pushed over by a tree. So, but he just went round skips until he got 100 bricks, because it was just a bit of repairing of this, because he was able to reuse the bricks in the wall, and then it was a case of enough left to do a decent job of it and repair it.
Yeah.
But there's always bricks in skips.
Yeah.
We've had we must have had 3,000 bricks of this one particular style, so everything's the same all.
Oh yeah, if you want it to look good, then yes, you have to buy the right ones. Yes.
Yeah, and it's all right, Richard, but it's fussy on his bricks. If it's slightly off, he don't like it.
Yeah.
It'd be no good at heritage bricking then, using sort of reclaimed bricks.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it mattered really what shape your brick is and that. Because you bed it in with mortar, don't you? So if there's a bit of an imperfection in it, the mortar should take it up quite easily.
It should, but there you go.
I've never done bricklaying. I've never had a go at bricklaying. It was one of them things I've never tried. Bricklaying.
Yeah, I've done repairing type jobs and bits and pieces, and as I said, there's a skill with the mortar mix. There's a skill to it if you want to do it reasonably quickly. It's not just something you can do, but I've never been able to get a decent finish. Yeah, it's always like repairs in corners and things where it's not actually on show. So my pizza oven was made out of breeze blocks and brick to get all the heights and levels right. But that was rendered afterwards, so it didn't matter the fact that my bricklaying's a bit shoddy.
Yeah. Render hides it, doesn't it?
Yeah. But it does remind me one of the places near where I walk past from time to time, and this guy has it was an old outhouse, and he put an extra half a floor on it so he could have 2 floors inside. And he's put a new roof on it and all that, and at the moment recently he's been pointing it, and this pointing's like a work of art. It's possibly the best pointing I've ever seen. So.
Excellent.
Pointing is a serious skill to actually get that to look really nice, especially when you're using old bricks. Yeah. There's a lot of imperfection you have to work around.
Yeah. Probably it's like anything else. Practice makes perfect, doesn't it?
Yep.
I guess you can do it if you practice enough. I got something to ask you, Gordon. I can't remember what on earth it was. There was something I thought I must ask Gordon about this, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. It'll come back to me about 10 o'clock. It'll be all right.
Right. you'll have to drop an email.
Yeah. Can't for the life of me remember what it was. Ask you about. Oh well, it'll keep. it will save. So I'm just looking at the YouTube stream while because I'm on here, but I'm looking at the YouTube stream, make sure it's still going. Because the one last week didn't keep going for some reason. It froze at the end. So I'm just making sure it's not freezing. I'm just testing it a minute.
Well,
Don't know why it says on it started streaming less than 1 minute ago. I'm fairly sure that's wrong.
Right.
Yeah. You don't know anything about payphones, do you, Gordon?
No.
No.
But it's a standard piece of mechanism. It's a combination of a phone and a slot device. But have you got a proper old one?
Hang on. Why does that keep coming up on there? I keep getting silly messages on my computer. Because my phone's plugged into my computer to charge it, and I keep popping up silly messages.
Ah, now that's a nice looking thing. What part of the world's that from?
Hang on. Stupid stuff on my computer again. We think America. It's either America or Canada. We think America.
Right. That's very nice. So
now, yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah, I take it the phone bit's easy to sort, whatever might be wrong with it, but your coins are all going to be no good if they're dimes and nickels.
There's a slight problem with it. Can you tell what it is yet?
No, because it's not clear enough.
Oh right, I'm dead clear at my end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm clear on the YouTube stream. I think it's your connection, Gordon, because
let me get the screen a bit bigger. Oh, it's taking forever here. Come on. So I can see more of it now.
Well,
so there's the coin storage at the bottom.
yeah, well that's the problem. The mechanism here isn't.
Right. Oh, it's missing. So you were asking me to find something that wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, I saw it wasn't there.
Well, yes, you've.
But it arrived.
Yeah. But even if the coin mechanism was there, you wouldn't be able to use it because you've got the wrong size coins. But it does look very nice.
I found some American coins.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure somebody must have got some American coins somewhere. I need 25 cents, 10 cents, and 5 cents.
Right. Quarters, dimes, and nickels.
Yeah. I never know which is a nickel and which is a dime.
Nickels 5, dimes 10.
Right. So it's quarters, dimes, and nickels. Then
So what is the mechanism for turning the coin into the length of a call? What actually sets the length of the call? Is it mechanical? Does it just sort of like move something mechanical, which then unwinds until the time's up?
No, it doesn't do that. Hang on, let me put the camera back. It's sufficiently old. I think this one's 1960s, but they're around from about 30s, I think. It's sufficiently old that when you made a local call, it was a flat fee.
Right.
basically from a phone box, because in America, local calls are, or at least were, I don't know if it's still the case, were free. It's historically. So from a phone box, you're basically paying to use the phone box. You're not paying for the call.
Yeah.
So what you did was put an amount of money in that unlocked the thing and made it possible to dial. Yeah.
Right.
So there's no timer involved.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. If you were calling long distance where you had to pay and it was timed,
Yeah.
you had to go through an operator.
Right.
And when you drop your coins in, the mechanism that's missing on this has got some bell gongs in the mechanism. So as the coin drops down the chute, it hits these gongs, and depending on what gong it hits and how many times it hits it, for instance, there's one gong that your 10 cents drops down, and it hits the same, it hits two gongs basically, so it goes ding ding when you drop 10 cents in.
Right.
When you drop 5 cents in, it just goes ding.
Yep. Right.
So it knows the difference between a 5 and a 10. And when you drop 25 cents in, it
Right.
makes a different noise entirely. It's a different size gong thing it hits.
It's a different. Right. I'm with you.
So it makes a different tone. And the operator listens for the dings as you're dropping the money in.
Yeah.
Then she knows how much money you've dropped in. So how long to connect you for. And then she comes online and says, can you put another 10 cents in, please, sir?
Nice.
Or else she cuts you off.
Yes.
So basically it's done with bells on the inside of the...
Wow. Yeah.
Unfortunately, on the bit that's missing
Yeah.
in here. Now, I did get in touch with somebody in America that sells parts for these. But I have to say, the customer service is the worst in the world.
Right.
And the bloke just wasn't interested in selling what he was supposed to be selling. So hence I've still got this big hole in the back where the part should be.
Right.
So it's going in the it's on the to-do pile.
Right.
So what complicates it though is there's replicas of these. If you go on eBay now, you can buy a modern replica of these that visually
with a push button instead of a dial.
Well, no, they've got dials. They're quite clever, but they work optically.
Right.
Little microprocessor in them that works optically. But to look at them on eBay, they look like the proper ones. You know, to look at the picture, when you get them in your hand, you can immediately tell that they're not. But it makes it very hard to go through and look for a proper one.
Yeah. Right.
You know, to get the bits and things. You know, you can't just go through eBay and look at all the pictures until you see one and go, oh, there's one there. You know, because chances are it'll not be a real one.
Yeah.
So that's me. That's me American payphone. It's what they call a 3-slot payphone because it picked 3 different.
Right. Where does the handset go?
Before you do, have you done anything, Gordon, in the last minute?
No.
Because your crickets have now just stopped.
Oh.
I've not really heard them much at all tonight. Yeah.
I've heard it on all evening. It's been there twittering in background, and it's just stopped about a minute ago.
I've no idea.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, because I've got earphones now.
Right.
Which people say does make it better, but they don't say it makes it good. They just say it makes it better.
Yeah.
Less
No.
worse. But
No, it's
anyway,
not.
yes. Where does the handset go on one of these things?
On the side, somewhere.
So there's
That side.
so there's a
there.
lever there's a lever missing as well then.
Oh well, that's on the back. That's on the back plate,
Right.
which is hang on. That's the main bit of the phone. That's the back plate that goes on the wall.
Right, I'm with you. Right. Oh, and yes. Right. I see how it works. Yeah.
So imagine that
Yep. Now I can see it now.
going
Yeah.
behind there like that.
Right.
But all this here, this is the gubbins from the inside of a phone.
Yes.
It's not the gubbins from the inside of one of these.
Right.
So what somebody's done, they've stripped the payphone interior out of this, and they've kind of glued in a circuit board out of a more modern phone, in the hope of wiring it up and getting it working. And I think what they've done, they've half done it and given up, because as it's wired, that will never work the way. So I think they've been trying to do it to make it just work as a house phone.
Yes.
But of course, what they should have done is should have left the payphone mechanism in it and that. But some idiot hasn't.
Yeah.
Stripped it out and put that in. So I've got to strip that out and put the proper mechanism. Somebody did tell me what that mechanism is.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said it's out of an Australian phone or something. So God knows how it's got that in from Australia and the things from America, and I've got no idea. Right, I'm going to put it down again because it's heavy.
Right. Yes, I'd have that on the wall in our house. That is a very nice thing.
Yeah.
But we've got our Swiss phone, which I showed you the other week.
Yeah. Well, the idea is it will go on the wall when it's done.
Yeah.
But I shall put it back to properly how it should be, and so that people can put 25 cents in and make it go ding ding.
Right.
And work properly.
Now, because it's not actually measuring the coin, you might be able to use UK coins that will actually just about fit.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't measure the coin. The only way it measures the coin is it measures the thickness of the coin going in there.
Yeah.
When you push the coin in there, the slot in the back of there it drops down is the given thickness of the coin.
Yeah.
Then in the back there's a thing called a washer detector.
Right.
Which you'll probably not be able to see, but it's these things here that rotate round.
Yeah.
And can you see there's like a little peg that goes round?
Uh-huh.
And
I think, yeah.
When your coin drops down, if it's a washer, that peg thing there goes through the hole in the middle of the washer.
Yeah.
So the coin falls straight. Yeah?
Yes.
And if it falls straight, it falls into a bit of the mechanism that's not there, that goes into the coin reject chute.
Right, I'm with you.
If it's a coin, i.e. something that's not got a hole in it, when it drops down, that thing pushes it, so it sort of tumbles off backwards rather than dropping down straight. And if it tumbles off backwards, it goes into it's a coin chute, and then goes and hits the bells.
Right, but there must be a mechanism for detecting the right size of coin as well, or does it not matter? I'm trying to think whether that would matter. So if you put a nickel in the dime slot, it presumably won't work.
Yeah, well, when it goes down the chute, the chute is made in such a way that kind of one side of the chute is mainly missing.
Right.
it's only held at the bottom edge of the coin and the top edge of the coin. So if the coin is too small, it falls off the chute.
Right, into the reject.
Into the reject, yeah.
So making it work with coins which are ever such a subtly different size might be quite hard. You'd have to find genuine quarters, nickels, and dimes.
Yeah. Well, genuine quarters, nickels, and dimes are easy because the size of coins in America has never changed for. In fact, the coins have never changed for years and years and years. There are still coins in circulation in America from about 1910, 1920.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's never changed. You know, that's why they do this coin roll hunting that they do to find these rare coins.
Yeah.
Because they pop up these old dimes and that they pop up, and before a certain date, I think they were silver and stuff like that.
Right.
But they've never messed with it, unlike here, where they mess with it on frequently.
Yes. Because our jukebox works off of the old size 50p, the big heavy one.
Oh yeah.
And that was when it found its demise, because the cost of converting the coin mechanism to accept the new 50p, or even given inflation a pound coin, it wasn't worth their while, because at that point everybody was swapping over to digital. So the old-fashioned jukeboxes were all taken out, and that's how we managed to get a hold of it in 1994. It was my 40th birthday present.
Yeah, well, commercial jukeboxes now would all be digital, wouldn't they? Because they wouldn't want to have to go around putting records in a jukebox anymore. I guess they just sort of
they're just like
link to the internet and they update every week or something.
Right, yes. Which is not quite the same. Yes. Yeah, the one I've got's a very, very early computer. It's just a single chip, which is a very, very basic thing on it.
Yeah.
From 1973.
Oh, it's a relatively new jukebox then.
Oh yes, yeah. The old ones are incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
So
why has it got a? What does the chip do then?
I've got. What Alan's trying to say something.
I'm going to say goodbye because I need to go and straighten out my back.
Right. Okay.
Okay. How long the stretch rack, Alan?
Right.
Yes.
I'll talk to you in a bit.
Right. Cheers.
Bye. Yeah. What does it do then, Gordon?
Well, it's basically the record selector. So it's a sort of semi-electromechanical, semi-electronic. Yeah, computer's too strong a term. It's a sort of electronic, and there's diodes everywhere. That I've not looked at it for ages. I can't quite recollect. But there's one very big chip in it, which has got the logic in it.
Had somebody restored that then before you got it?
It was restored for sale when it was in 1994 to us, and since then it's worn out, and we were just about to have it restored when the pandemic struck, and so we're kind of hoping that the guy that does it hasn't gone out of business up in Walkley somewhere in Sheffield. So
I should think it's fairly easy. Do you know what's worn out on it?
Well, the record, the actual mechanical bit that selects the record and plays it, it's full of springs and levers. That's basically old and worn and mucky now, so that doesn't quite work. I know that there must be a couple of bus capacitors in it because I could do that bit myself. Yeah. But basically, what you do is you take the record player bit, which is about a 6-inch cube full of these. You can take that out, and it unplugs from the electronics, and take it off and get it serviced by somebody who knows what they're doing. Yeah. I'm talking about very fine adjustments here. It's got to operate a stylus and all that jazz.
You know, record players are a strange. I've done a couple of record players for people, you know, sort of like dance set record players, and I cannot get my head around the mechanical linkage that makes all the things work. You know, when it sort of senses that it's got to the middle of the record, and then it lifts up and comes back at I can look at the mechanics of it, and normally when you look at the mechanics of something, you can work it out what it's supposed to be doing. But they absolutely fool me, them record players. I really cannot work it out.
Yeah, well, it's obviously got all of that in it as well. So, because it basically is playing a record.
Yeah.
So I've tried. I mean, I've obviously tried. I've had it out, and tried and cleaned it, and tried to get it, and it still doesn't quite do it right. So we thought, well, this guy's here. He knows what he's doing. We'll give him some income, and he can get it working for us.
Yeah.
We don't have to take the whole blooming thing, which weighs half a ton. We just need to take out the change mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's done. It's done 25 years, hasn't it? So.
Yeah.
And do you use it quite a bit? Have you used it quite?
We used to, yeah, until it started to get a bit. It's gradually deteriorated. It would play a record, and of course, if you're doing a party or something like that, it's annoying. It spoils the atmosphere when it doesn't work properly.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem with the jukebox, from my point of view, was when we first got it. Was a transistor from 1973, and it didn't sound right. So I got a valve amplifier and replaced the output stages with valves, make it sound authentic.
Yeah.
Authentic for the old stuff we like, which is pre-transistor, 1960s and 50s stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got the horrible tinny music.
Yeah, so we
got the Beatles.
Yeah, we got it sounding well and good, and I got a good bass beat on it with the valves. And then as the mechanism started to go, and as for the capacitors, I might just replace them all. I think it's probably a good idea. 1973 was a very long time ago for capacitors.
Well, 1995 was a long time ago for capacitors.
Yes. Well, they were making by 1995. They were making them out of much more robust plastics.
Yeah.
So yeah, because obviously the valve amplifier that was a no-brainer. You just have to replace everything. Because that valve amplifier was 1958, I think.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh, it sounds like. Did you manage to fit that inside the box there?
Yeah, it's quite roomy because it's designed to be a piece of furniture, so there's plenty of room inside it. And this guy was flogging one off of eBay, broke out up at Elsica, and of course he told me the dimensions, and I thought, well, that'll actually fit inside the box. So we were away.
Yeah, excellent. What was I going to say? Oh, does it take those records with the big holes in the middle?
Yes, it's dual. It's a dual one. You can either have the big hole or the small hole. So you don't have to have the little plastic insert that makes it a small hole.
Yeah. I'm just wondering how it puts the record on if it's only got the little hole in the middle. Because the big ones, they go on a cone, it just sort of drops it on and it lines it up, doesn't it?
It's got both the cone and a spindle-shaped thing that just picks it up. And there's a certain amount of play, so that it doesn't have to be 100% precise, and it just pushes it on properly. Yeah. It's,
excellent.
As you say with these things, they're an amazing piece of mechanics.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting the records that'll be the problem now, though, because they don't produce anything on records anymore. So.
No, well, we used to go to charity shops in the 90s, and we'd just rifle through what they'd got, 7-inch singles, until we found stuff we liked.
Yeah,
what we liked. We've got hundreds of things, so But you don't tend to see those anymore. That's all. They've all gone as well.
Yeah, you don't see singles, do you?
No.
No, that's a good point. You don't. You see loads of albums still, but you don't see singles.
No, it's the change in the way people do things these days.
Yeah. I've got loads of I've got thousands of records. I could do with getting rid of them. I could do with finding somebody that collects records or something.
Yeah.
Because I've got thousands of the blooming things.
Well, they're out there, but you might need to sort them yourself into stuff that's considered valuable.
Yeah, but
also they're all.
I've not got a clue though, Gordon. I just want somebody that collects records to come and go, all right, yeah, I'll come and grab those 10 boxes full of. I've got a lot of 78s as well.
Yeah, well, some of those can be very valuable if they're rare.
Well,
I know somebody.
The opposite. I found that you can't give them away.
No, I know somebody who specialises in that sort of thing. He doesn't collect them, but he specialises in old music, and he's got 78s, which is probably worth tens of pounds each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem I have with them is they're so blooming heavy.
Yes.
You know, I had one of these big plastic crates. You know when Maplin shut down?
Yeah.
I got a load of blue plastic crates. You know, a bit like the yellow one we use for the repair cafe.
Yeah.
I got these from Maplin's when Maplin shut down. They were selling them off for like a couple of quid a crate.
Yeah.
So I got about 20 of these crates from Maplin. And I thought one day, I'll be clever. I'll put these 78s, or some of these 78s, in one of these crates. So I filled this crate up and I couldn't move the crate.
Yes. Yes.
It's unbelievably heavy. You can't put into words how heavy it is. I bet it's heavier than steel.
Yeah.
For the given amount it is. You just can't. And they're all in the loft now, and I'm thinking, how strong is the floor in the loft? So if you hear a house collapse in Bolzov, you know what's happened.
Yes.
But records. The old what's come in auctions with other things. You see over, when you go to the auction, you buy a lot of something to get something you want out of it, and you get a load of things you don't want in the same box. So some of the things that you don't want have become useful. There was a Smith's electric wall clock in one form. That was a thing that I didn't want, but it is now on the wall in the kitchen, and it is going. And
what the ones that run off the mains?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got one of them. I discovered how valuable they are because when we redid the kitchen, one of the last things that had to be done was to put the wall clock back on the wall. And I was just about to hang it on the screw, and it slipped.
Oh, yeah. I think you told me about this at the time. Yeah.
Yes, and then you go on eBay, and they're £200 a pop.
Yeah.
But we got a mucky one for 90 quid, so it just needed cleaning up. And then we kept the face was mucky, but we kept the face from the old one because it was only the Bakelite case that was shattered. So I was able to put the thing back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the particular models of things, particular sizes, can be incredibly expensive. The scarcer ones. Yeah,
I don't know if this one's scarce or not. I've never looked into it. It's a Smith's Sectric, is it, or something they call it?
Yes, Sectric. There's different. The logo changed over because I got interested in it when I found out this was going on. The logo changed from time to time as well over the decades.
Yeah.
And the model of the little electric motor thing that drove it changed. Yeah, and then they had several different sizes.
Yeah. Yeah, there were lots of different ones, weren't there?
Yeah.
And people frown on them now, though, because of that 2-core cable they tend to have on them.
Yes. Well, the thing is, they can all be modernised. Yes.
Well, one that I've got in the kitchen's not been modernised. It's still as it was.
I mean, yes, you can replace them with grotty modern quartz movements. I don't mean that level of modern. I meant the wiring.
He did that on the repair shop with one a while back. That's Steve. Yeah. I was absolutely horrified.
Did he? What, he replaced the electric motor with a quartz movement?
Horrible 99p quartz thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was absolutely horrified. I'm regularly horrified at some of the stuff they do on there, though, these days.
Yes.
I think they're cutting corners these days with that.
Yeah.
Compared to what they used to do.
Yeah. Yes, because I mean, ours just, in fact, because if you switch it off, it stops. We found out 3 nights ago we had a power cut at 3:30 in the morning, and I could have told you within seconds of exactly when this power cut was because the clock just stopped.
Yeah, yes. Now my one does that. I didn't know if it was a fault with it or not. When you turn it on, you have to sort of mess with it to.
You have to give it a flick. To set it going. Yeah, it won't go on unless you give it a little bit of a mechanical thing, and then it keeps itself going after that.
My one's got like a button that sticks out the bottom of
yes.
the wall, and you can push it in this button and turn it, and that turns the hands.
Yes.
But I find if you just push it in, just give it a flick and push it in, that sets it going.
That's right. Yes.
But why do they not go then from? Is it something to do? It's like an induction motor thing, you know?
Yes, it's something like that. Yes. Yeah.
Is it something to do with it not being in motion? It can't go from a complete stop.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the exact, but it'll be something to do with the way the electric thing works. Yeah. I've never inquired into it in detail.
Yeah. So it's not just mine then.
No, that's how they work.
Yeah. But that's all right then. I feel better about that. But yeah, it's a really good clock actually. It keeps good time. It's quiet. It doesn't make any kind of noise.
It keeps perfect time because it runs off the frequency, and the frequency is adjusted.
Yeah.
To compensate for the load. So the frequency is over a 24-hour period. It will be exactly 50 cycles a second. So it will keep perfect time.
Yeah, provided they do still adjust it.
Well, that's true, yes.
I heard something that they weren't adjusting it anymore, or weren't adjusting it as much as they.
Yeah.
Because they used to adjust it precisely for this reason, didn't they?
Yes.
Clocks and things ran off it. And somebody somewhere along the line said it weren't doing it anymore, or weren't doing it as accurately, or.
Right.
It may have been Andrew, because Andrew does clocks, doesn't he?
Yes.
It may have been him that said something about it. But yeah, I do remember somebody saying something about it, but it seemed all right to me. It seems to keeps better time than a wind-up clock. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Yeah, so I suppose I could test this, couldn't I? Assuming we don't get another power cut, because it'll run for weeks. So I need to set it going against my phone, and then try it a couple of weeks later and see how many seconds it's out.
Yeah. Theoretically, it shouldn't be out at all, should it? But
yes.
Because it should adjust itself over time. You would have hoped, but whether it actually does or not is anybody's guess.
Wow. Yeah.
Down to the power companies, I think that one.
Well.
But it's very. I like the fact it's a smooth sweep that the hands do on it.
Yes. Yeah, on 99p quartz movements, and on doing this sort of thing, our front room mantelpiece clock is a 1930s Bakelite thing, and it actually had a mechanical movement in it.
Yeah.
But it was only a 24-hour movement, 30-hour movement. So.
I've got one of them.
Because it was a mantelpiece clock, I wasn't going to be winding it up every day. So I did replace it with a quartz movement. Yeah. Because there was nothing special about the movement. It was just a dirt cheap clock, but it was the fancy Bakelite Art Deco exterior that we got it for. Anyway, that broke a month ago. Don't know what happened to it, but I did take it to bits, and there were none of the cogs were broken or anything. But anyway, it refused to go, so I got a new one. And I'd done this before and bought a cheap one. It didn't work properly. So this time I went to a specialist supplier and I got a sweep one. You can get a sweep quartz movement, and now that looks very nice on the mantelpiece.
A sweep?
Yeah, it's a sweep movement, so it doesn't tick.
It does that?
Yeah, it doesn't tick. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That's right. It's a smooth. So, but it cost me 12 quid, including postage.
Yeah.
And it came with a set of hands, and the guy does about 50, 60 different sizes and shapes of hands and colours. So we were able to get the correct period shaped hands for it.
Yeah.
In with the 12 quid.
Well, if you'd have left the wind-up mechanism in it, it wouldn't have broke anyway. So.
Yeah, I just kept forgetting to wind the blimming thing up, and then you're looking at the clock. It's right, like news is on. Oh, it was on 5 minutes ago.
You don't forget to wind those up, though. The ones you forget to wind up are the ones that you wind up every week. They're the ones you forget to wind up precisely because you don't do it every day.
I'm supposed to wind this up on a Sunday morning, and I do forget every now and again. And then it reminds me that I've forgotten because it stops.
Yeah, but the ones you wind up every day, you do think, oh, have I wound the clock up today? No, I haven't. I'll wind the clock up.
Yeah.
So I find the one that's a 24-hour one is fine. I don't forget that one, but I do forget the ones that you have to wind up every week because I forget.
They're called 30-hour movements because there's a bit of leeway.
Yeah. A bit of play.
The weekly one's an 8-day movement.
Yeah.
And so on, yes.
Yeah. But yeah. I got a grandfather clock out of the auctions a couple of years back. Not an old one. But it is proper. It's built as an old one. Yeah. It is all mechanical and that. I think it was about 40 quid out of the auction gallery. And that's really good. That just sits there and ticks away and never gives any bother, that one. But you do have to remember to lift the weights.
Right. Oh, it's one with the weights. Yes.
Yeah. It's one with the 3 weights in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's quite clever, that, because it does things like it doesn't chime at night, and you can turn it off at night.
Oh, right. That's a neat touch.
And stuff like that. Yeah, you set it to what says on it, night off.
Yeah. And
then it chimes 10 o'clock at night, and then it shuts up until 7 o'clock the following morning. Then it starts again.
Right. Yes. Well, ours is a clock and in clock. So
yes.
So they have to have nice movements in them because they have to be reasonably accurate.
Yeah.
So it's got a nice movement in it. But it's in the hall, and it's always a pleasure when you're walking down the stairs to hear the ticking.
Have you got a card that you every morning when you walk?
I've never restored because it came out of a factory, so the thing was caked with muck. So I cleaned up the clock bit of it. But I never restored the clocking in mechanism. It's all there. It's all intact.
Yeah.
It's just hopelessly filthy.
Oh, go for it.
And well, yes. And then time flies by and it never gets done.
Is it the National Time Recorder Co?
No. Oh no. It's a Gledhill Brooks from Huddersfield.
Oh.
It's a northern one.
Yeah. I'm going to say, you see the National Time Recorder Co, don't you? You see them quite frequently.
Yes. You do. Well, you see both sorts, yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I want a master clock at the minute. I've got a slave clock, but I need the master clock to power the slave clock. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think they're things of beauty, the way they're made. Very, very simple.
Yeah.
Long case. and of course they have absolutely superb movements in them. So I'd like one of them as well.
What I don't know though is if they're all the same gun, if they all send the same pulse, depending
Well, that
on manufacturer.
I would have thought that if they're the same height, so the pendulum's the same length, then by definition it sends the same pulse because it operates off the pendulum.
Yeah, but I don't think they all operate off the same voltage.
Ah, well, the voltage will be whatever the voltage is because that is not dependent on the clock. So long as there's enough volts to get enough current through the thing, you'll be all right. I would have thought, yeah.
Yeah, but is the master clock not electric?
No, the really, really nice master clocks are mechanical. And as I said, the
well, this
driven by
clock,
the pendulum.
this clock that I've got is one out. It's either out of a post office or a telephone exchange
Yes.
or somewhere. It says GPO on it, and it's very sort of 60s or 70s, a white face with a sort of
Yes.
aluminium surround on it. And is it gents? I think it's a gents one.
Yes, that's a common one.
Yeah. But from the little bit of research I did, the master clocks from different manufacturers have different voltages.
Right.
And I think by this time, I think the master clock is electric.
It could well be by then.
I think it's a similar sort of principle to those Smith clocks. It's mains electric to run it.
Right.
So
they're
I
not,
think they've got to get the right voltage to it.
I think that is all adjustable. But I personally would want a mechanical movement with a nice long arm pendulum on it. Because
I think they all have these long pendulums on, even the electric ones.
Right. So it doesn't work the same as the Smiths then. So what the electric must be doing is providing the pulse, a solenoid pulse to drive the pendulum, rather than
I think it is. Yeah, I think that is.
But then the pendulum drives the pulse. So long as the pendulum on whatever mast you get's got the same length as the one your slave is for, the pulse will be the right time.
Yeah,
I think they're long enough to be a second.
The slave is just a round wall clock.
Yeah, but it will work on I think the pendulum is a second. It's long enough to be a second.
Yeah. So
they're about,
they're
about 4. The masters are about 4 feet or 5 feet high.
Yeah.
So that's a second. I think that's a second on a pendulum. Yeah. So
the grandfather clock that I've got, the pendulum is each swing of the pendulum is a second.
Yes.
Because it's got
what you could do with your grandfather clock is rig a pulse device on the pendulum. What you would have to do is have a magnet on the pendulum. Yeah. And then the pendulum swings plus a magnetic switch and generates the pulse. Yeah. And then you can send that pulse to the slave down a piece of wire.
Yeah, like a reed switch or something.
Yeah, reed switch. I can't think of the terminology. Yes, a magnetic operated reed switch, and that would generate your pulse. Yes, something like that. Anyway. That's
an interesting thought, Gordon.
Yes. So you've actually got a clock that will do the job.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought. That.
And the magnet doesn't have to be very big or very heavy or very strong, so it won't affect the pendulum.
Yeah.
Glue it on behind it so it doesn't spoil the appearance. If it's got a glass front, has it got a glass front? Your grandfather clock?
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have it all behind it, so so it wouldn't spoil the appearance.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good idea. Yeah. I'll put that on my list of things to do.
Yes.
It's written on the roll of Andrex because it's the only piece of paper I could find that was long enough.
Yeah.
So, that would work, that wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
I never thought of that in a million years.
Yep.
Just got to find out now what voltage a slave clock is.
Yeah. Well, that's
I think it's relatively high. I think it's either 12 or 24 volts.
yeah. Well, all you've got to do is get a battery pack and start with a low voltage and just keep clocking it up a cell at a time until such time as there's enough oomph to drive the hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, just to make it go.
Yeah.
Because it is just a pulse, isn't it?
Yes. So it's the pulse. I don't quite know how this. What the pulse must be operating a solenoid of some sort that just pushes the cog round to the next second.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's all driven with cogs.
Yeah.
So that solenoid type device, you just need to have enough volts to give it enough oomph to push whatever piece of metal it pushes to click the next second.
Yeah. I shall have a go at that.
You'd have to bring it into the repair cafe next time, and we'll have to have a look and see how it works.
Can't bring the bloody grandfather clock into the
The grandfather clock's straightforward. It's getting the it's trying to see how the slave works. I'd be fascinated to see how it actually works.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing here that this is a sort of electrical device.
Yeah.
This is how they work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it? You think about it. It's got to be something along those lines. Yeah, we'll have a look into that.
Yes.
I might get it on here next week because I can easily move it.
Yeah.
It's not actually attached to the wall or anything yet because obviously it's not up because it's not working. So
yeah. But on regulator clocks, one of the most fascinating things I did just before when were we? Either 2019 or 2018, we went with some friends to Cornwall, and one of the things we did while we were down at the end of Cornwall was we went to the museum at Porthcurno for the telegraph cables.
Oh, the little hut on the beach thing.
No, well, yes, but there's also a big building as well further up, which has got all the machinery in it from the 1930s.
Ah.
It's got two of the most beautiful looking regulators in it in the glass cases. They're exactly the same as the ones you see everywhere else, but they're probably even better movements because this thing has got to be because the signalling was duplexed, so it has to be incredibly precise, like to 100th of a second. And it was all done mechanically with mechanical clocks. And they're just things of absolute beauty, and all this beautiful machinery made out of really, really heavy brass.
What are they signaling that they need a clock for?
So you need the clock to get the time. So, and
I thought it was Morse code that went through that cable.
Yeah, but because it's a duplex signal, they have to have the timing exactly right. So you can have the signal going both ways.
Yeah.
But only if you have it synchronized, and it's synchronized with these really, really sophisticated.
Dot that way, dot that way, dot that way.
Yeah. So it has to be a very precise.
What is the dash then?
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the detail. I can't remember now. But all I remember was this room, 100-foot room, full of this most incredible machinery, all electromechanical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably still works as well.
Yeah, well, it was all functioning. Yes, and then it was populated by these really old guys who were volunteers who knew how it all worked.
Yeah. Does that cable still operate then? No.
I don't know about the whether the cables at Porthcurno are still in use, but obviously the museum part of it isn't anymore because it's all digital now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the detail now, but it'll be on the website for the.
Yeah. I've been to Cornwall a few times. I've never ever been to that.
Yeah, well, there's a museum at Porthcurno in the old Marconi building there, and then over at Poldhu there is a wireless museum as well, full of all the equipment from right back to Marconi's original wireless transmission.
Yeah. Ah,
And that's a fascinating place as well.
yeah. Have to go and have a look.
Yeah.
Have to have a trip to Cornwall.
Yes.
Don't forget some pasties.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But yeah. Right, I suppose it's probably about time to go. Before I turn
It's
back
time to
into-
go, yes. I don't know about Alan getting a stiff back, but I've got one too. So I need to go
Yeah.
and have a stretch.
Yeah,
Right.
you have to go and have a walk about after a while, don't you?
Yes. Right,
Well-
anyway. Nice to talk to you, Andy. Yes.
Yes, and you, Gordon. We'll see if we can round a few more people up next week.
Right, yep, okay
And
then.
I didn't send an email out this week, so maybe that's maybe they've all forgot because I didn't prompt them. So
Yes.
I'll.
Well, what happened last week was I didn't put it in my diary, and then something else turned up, and I didn't know I had to leave a slot 7 while 9. So it's
Yeah.
in my diary now every week, so I won't go and double book.
Excellent. Well, there's one or two people watched it on YouTube anyway,
Yeah.
because it's sort of streamed out in
Yes.
parallel
Right.
to YouTube, and that brings people in a bit. That does.
Yeah.
The chap came in last week who normally watches stuff on YouTube, who came in and got involved in it. So we shall see, and hopefully we'll be able to get a few more people involved with it.
Well, yes, that's the thing. Yes.
If word gets out that it's happening, though, it should build up a bit, I think.
Yep, that's right. Yep. Okay,
Okay.
then, Andy.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers, then, Gordon. We'll see you soon. Bye.
See ya.